So, hi Anushka, how are you? How's things
Hi,
with
I'm
you?
good. Great, amazing. How are you? It's
I'm
morning
pretty good.
here.
Pretty good. So, first you introduce yourself for my audience, like what you're doing. I would have done that, but you start.
No, amazing. Hi, I'm Anushka, and I'm here in Paris doing my master's in chemistry from Université Paris Saclay. So this is my second year of master's here. This is like my second year in Paris as well. I did my bachelor's from DU, and it was in chemistry honors. And here I am doing my master's in chemistry, like continuing it. So yeah, everything is going well as of now.
Perfect. So first I have two questions for you.
Okay.
There is a big transition directly from DU to France. So how is it? Can you differentiate the universities and the culture a bit?
Completely different. And I prefer this over DU. We here do more application based instead of like just, learning what's written in our textbooks. So it's here, like, we usually don't get pages of
Yeah.
reading text. It's the research papers that which I feel is important, which does not happen in DU. Like you get the research papers, you do the study, and then you give the exam. Like it's not based on the textbooks, it's on research papers, something I really appreciate here. So this is a huge transition. And plus I feel it's important because if you have to go for a PhD after, so you should know how to read the paper and not just, learn what's written in your textbooks.
Exactly.
And other than that, DU life is quite chill, like it's like very chill, like do whatever you want to do. But here it's like you have to be focused, you have to be everything, like everything should be on time and properly. So DU was fun. It was
Yeah.
good for bachelors, I think, but now I think it's better
Yeah.
here.
What's your research topic here? What's your you are going to do your thesis as well in masters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the topic of
In
that?
January. I'm working for computational chemistry. Like I had to do my mini internship sort of thing in my master one. Master one is my first year of masters,
Okay.
and for that I worked on gold, like modeling of gold nanoparticles for radiotherapy. And then now here I'll be working, like I should not disclose it right now, but it's like computational chemistry, but not like related to cancer and everything again.
Perfect. Okay. So let's start with the main questions now. So what motivated you to pursue a master's degree from abroad, specifically in France?
So specifically in France, so France was never ever on my list. It just happened. It had to happen, I think. So I always wanted to go to Germany because it's more science oriented and I've heard a lot about, like, I remember before coming here I used to watch videos about how can you apply and everything on YouTube, and everywhere it was Germany for chemistry. It was like never France. Even I didn't like apply anything specifically for France. It was just this university and I got it. So what motivated me was the scholarship, the money.
I got
To
it.
like I just wanted to be not like dependent on my parents and for like spending a lot of money coming just here. I wanted to be like a bit self-independent and like I don't have to pay a lot for coming here was
I
my idea.
Yeah. I can completely relate with you because I wanted to go to Europe for a PhD, but I wasn't getting
Yeah.
positions there. Then I got from New Zealand, and here I was getting really good scholarship, and I am independent now. I can do my things
Yeah.
on my own. So
It feels different
it's
now.
yeah, it's really a good feeling.
Yeah. So that was
Um,
my motivation.
yeah.
Plus, plus apart from that, like honestly, like I've seen, like I worked as well in India for my internships, and here as well I've worked, so I can actually see the difference. So what I was expecting was a better work culture and better instrumentation, and everything is perfect here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to.
Fair enough.
And I've heard like it's easier once you get a master's here,
Yeah.
so it's easier to get a PhD and continue it like here instead of applying. Like it's hard to, just directly apply for a PhD and get one here than
It's
getting a master's and then
definitely.
continuing for a PhD.
Yeah.
So I just thought like, okay, I'm right in time. I have to do anyway my master's, then why not apply outside and just like, go for a master's for it. And also I feel like PhD is a big commitment. So to be ready for it. I wanted to know if I'll be able to survive alone, first of all, and secondly, if I actually want to do what I'm doing right now. So I think like masters was the thing. Okay, it's 2 years. You
Yeah,
can do. If you cannot, then you have just 2 years. You can go back and do
yeah,
whatever else you want to do.
exactly.
Yeah,
PhD is a big commitment for sure.
yeah.
Okay. So let's jump to the application procedure. Like, how did you start your application procedure? Were you mailing or you were applying to the forms, or is there any specific website where you find the funded open positions for masters? Like, tell me the procedure.
Okay. So as far as I know, for masters, at least here in Europe, cold emailing won't help because usually the admissions are through like the proper admission committee in a university. So, but I think in US it might work like cold emailing. They might give you master positions, but here in Europe it doesn't work that way. So I remember in my summers of like last year of my bachelor's, I started making my profile accordingly. Like if I have to apply outside, I just looked for the templates on LinkedIn. I followed people who went abroad for their studies on LinkedIn. I looked how they were working and I started building my profile accordingly. And then I applied to the position, like to the universities who had like open admissions, Like, so I applied everywhere. First of all, I would also recommend people not to just stick to one continent or one like country or something,
Yeah,
because that would just, minimize your chance of getting outside.
exactly.
So just choose wherever you feel like your research interest aligns with. So
Yeah,
that's what I did. Like I shortlisted universities where I think like I can work here and like the professors, their interests match with mine. So I shortlisted on the basis of that. And then I applied everywhere. Then I waited for okay, so I didn't apply just for the funded. I applied as well, like for the non-funded positions as well. So just to get, like there are a lot of scholarships that government of India offers that you can take, and that does not depend on which university you're applying for. So I
okay.
thought I'll just apply for the university first, then apply for the government of India scholarships. It's like Commonwealth is for UK. Like you can apply to 4 or 3 universities in UK. And if you get the scholarship, then it's going to be funded, Commonwealth. And then there's another Chevening, but you need work ex for that. So I didn't have any work experience because I just came from my
Yeah,
bachelor's.
yes.
So I didn't apply for that. But then there are other scholarships as well. Like I applied for the one that government of France offers. So mine is based on that. So I just applied to universities and I thought we'll look for the funding later. And I would recommend definitely apply for the scholarships, even their internal scholarships, like the university scholarships, because I know like during the process I have underestimated myself so much that oh I won't get it, oh I won't get it. But you never know what's written for you,
Exactly. I
So
remember
yeah.
my phase as well, how incompetent I was feeling.
I know. Like you just don't realize how much you're
Yeah, we
worth
do
of.
not realize our own potential.
Exactly.
Okay, so I wanted to ask actually financial questions to you, but now, as you told, you get scholarship, and I think you get stipend as well to live, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
sustain.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but I think there are many people who do not get scholarship. So can you just give, I know I should not ask you this question because you are not experienced, but you must be knowing through your friends how they sustain. Do they do job, the people who do not have scholarship in masters, or
Mm.
and I think there's a requirement of block account as well. Do you have any idea
Yeah.
about that, or we can skip this question as well?
No, no, it's okay. Like for I feel if you since I was on a scholarship, so I didn't require a blocked account. But blocked account is very mandatory. Like you have to show funds in your account that you can sustain yourself in another country.
Yeah,
So that is because only after that you'll get your visa for here,
yeah,
like a student visa or yeah. So blocked account is mandatory. So you have to arrange funds back in India before coming here to just show that you can, sustain. And how they manage their expenses. So in France, usually I know I can tell about France because I'm not sure much about the other European countries. In France, if you like in your internship or anything, if you work for more than 2 months, then you are supposed to get paid. It's a rule here.
okay,
So in my course, usually in every course, you have at least 6 months or 4 months of internship. So that helps. like not in the beginning because you have to anyway arrange funds either from your like parents or you have to take up a loan or but like eventually as the year ends like M1 is my master 1, M2 is master 2 here.
Okay.
So at the end of M1 or M2 you usually have an internship to do. It's like in your course you have to do it and it's usually more than 2 months. So you get paid for that even though it's not a lot, but it's fine. I think it's around, it depends on like how much you work, but it's around like 400 to 500 euros per month. So
Okay.
it's fine. And as far as working is concerned, so I know people who work as like in coffee shops and who work as a nanny. Like it's a cute job.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's easy. It's not that difficult to survive. You can if you want to. And even like, so in Europe, people don't know English, right? Like not a lot, and they're not very fluent in English. So people also require like others who can speak English. So you can also work as that, like a translator, or maybe like you can just teach English to their kids or to
Oh,
themselves.
that's so good. That's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah.
Okay. So my next question for you would be like, oh, I'm asking you like I'm taking actually interview. My next question is like,
No, no, it's fine.
okay. So what were your initial challenges you faced as a different country, different language, and different educational system, different friends, like different
True.
friends, I mean, like lots of cultures, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
what were
yeah.
your challenges?
Very true.
Did you feel like foreign,
Initially,
foreign?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember my initial days that I just wanted to go back and it was like, oh, what to do now? But
Yeah.
it's, I would recommend, like, you should always give yourself at least some time, even if you feel
Yeah.
like going back right now. Just give yourself at least 2 weeks or maybe 2 months. If you still feel like doing that, then you can go back. But at least initially give yourself 2 months to settle up and like everything, like you should know where to, because I remember initially everything was a challenge because back home you never did your groceries yourself,
Yeah.
you never did the house cleaning yourself, so everything was a challenge, and like meeting a new people who don't know your language, it was another
Exactly.
task, and you have to know their language to talk to them
Yeah.
because not a lot of people talk English here, like they do, but it's not very common. And I don't know, it never happened with me, but my friends tell me, like, even if they know English, they sometimes refuse to speak English because because they want to, like, uh, how do I say, like, they want you to speak their language because you came to their country.
Oh, yeah. I understand.
So everything was a task. But I think you'll manage because with time, you'll also make friends who are facing the same challenges as you. So you have somebody. So in the
Yeah.
end, it's gonna be fine. So everything was a challenge. Settling up in a new community was a challenge because people come here from different backgrounds, different cultures, and everything. And you have to know every culture, you have to respect it.
Exactly.
That's also a big challenge.
Basically, how did you overcome that thing? Like when you said you felt like going back, right? So how did you
Yeah,
overcome? What did you do? Did you join any activities here, or like what you were
I
associated
wanted,
with Indian
yeah,
community, or what?
I wanted to join, but honestly, like initially, you don't have a lot of time
Okay.
to do that. But I just gave myself time, like 2 months, I'll settle up here. And you have to like engage yourself with other activities, like you said. And I met a lot of, like, I have a lot of friends here who are Indians. So it was easier for me because they were also facing the same and
Yeah.
we were on the same boat. So you have somebody. And then if that doesn't happen, I feel here, like you have international student bodies and like you have like proper groups and they are in my university, I think in every university it's the same, like you have a buddy project or a buddy program where
Okay.
you get a where they assign you a buddy who is from the country or from the university and who's been living here for a long time, and they'll help you with every administrative work and everything, so that also helps a lot.
In my uni also,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it was there.
right.
Yeah, because yeah, I think yeah, I had a buddy and I also helped two people.
Yeah, so it's easy. I would just suggest, like, don't give up at the moment. Just give yourself time. Like, be okay, like 2 months. If that doesn't happen, then you can go back. But at least give yourself those 2 months.
I understand. Yeah, because I know
Even
lots
for
of
you.
people feel like that. You have to be either really passionate about your research or like really passionate about living alone. Like
Yeah.
self-belief, I would say.
Yeah. I
Okay.
know, like if you have to do something, you have to sacrifice something. So
Okay, let's come to one academic thing. Can you like divide your masters like into like in India? We have 4 semester in masters, like semester 1, 2, 3, and 4. You said M1, M2, like 1 year and 2 year.
Mhm.
And if I talk about like IIT Delhi, so we had like in semester 1 and semester 2, you had to complete your subjects, lots of subject courses. And by M2, like master second year, in semester 3, you start with your minor project like thesis, master's thesis. And you still had courses, but in fourth semester, it was completely like major project, which
Mhm.
comprises your thesis and just 2 courses. So how the structure goes here for 2 years?
Okay, so here I think it varies from university to university, but like it's different for my friends as well, like not similar as mine. So for me, it's like I'll tell you what it is for me, but usually it's this. Like this is very common. So it's like first year you have 2 semesters. So first semester is properly your studies, like your coursework. Everything is related to your coursework, and second semester for me it was half coursework and half project. Like out of 6 months, I studied for 3 months and then I worked like interned, like did my research for 3 months. So this was my master one. This is called M1 here. And M2 is your master two, like your second year of masters. So that's your one whole semester of coursework and then one whole semester of your thesis. So like I'm done with my one whole semester of coursework. Now I'll start my thesis like from next week. So
Okay,
I just have to do my thesis, that's all. And that's from 9 to 5. So you have to work as like full time.
perfect. All the very best for that.
Thank you so much.
And like you have talked about internships a lot. So is it like compulsory for you to do internship and you get paid for that as well? Or like you did it independently, chose for
Mm,
yourself?
yeah. So that's something I would prefer in like India over France. Because in India, how is it like you can work, like you can study and you can also intern at the same time. At least I did it like after like in your summers.
Mhm.
In your summers here you as well. Like if there's something online, like my work was usually computational chemistry. So I could, work while studying, like during my coursework as well. But here it's not allowed. So they define a period, only then you can work, like you can intern or research.
Here as
So
far as I know.
yeah, even for like New Zealand, it would be
I
same,
think so.
Yeah, so yeah, and this has credits. So you have to do it. It's mandatory. The duration is not mandatory. Like you can, for me, in my first year, the duration which was mandatory was 8 weeks. I
Okay.
did it for 4 months because I wanted to. So you just have to at least work intern for 8 weeks to
Okay.
get, to get the credits of the course.
That's good.
Yeah, and thesis is mandatory for the whole semester for everyone.
Perfect. And like you said about internship, so is there any like language proficiency required for internship or English? They accept English?
It depends. Like for me, it's research. So English works. They don't expect you to know French. But if you're working in a corporate, if you're not from a scientific background, and even if you're from a scientific background and you want to work in an industry for your thesis, they want you to know French because it's good to know French because it's always an added advantage.
Yeah, and you know French, but right?
Yeah, a bit.
That's pretty good. And like these days, your network is your net worth. I like
What do you mean?
religiously believe in that, honestly. It's just been 5 days I'm not using LinkedIn and I feel like, oh no. So I know my reasons, so I'm not using, so I'm content. But yeah, your network is your net worth, honestly. So how do
Obviously.
you make like network here? You must be meeting lots of French people and people from other countries as well. So how
Yeah.
is networking here, collaborations here? How does it help you to even improve your personality?
That's true. Like for first, let's just separate it into two, like the career first, and then we'll go to the personal life. So career wise, in my university, so my program is an international program because it's in English.
Okay.
So it's an international program. Like there was just one French student. So yeah, I met a lot of international people. So it was like, almost everyone, like I guess around 22 or something, and almost everyone except three, four were from different countries. So I actually met a lot of people from different countries. So it was nice, like you can know if their interests match with you, you can work in future
Yeah,
together. And plus when you join the group, so there also you meet a lot of like PhD students, like
exactly.
even for like that's how you would have met master people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Because I used to like train them, bachelor
yeah, yeah,
students. So like, yeah, met pretty good people.
yeah. So you meet like the PhD students there, even postdocs.
Yeah,
So that's how network with them and talk to them. And if your interests collide, then you can actually work in future with them. So this was like more career oriented.
yeah,
Now, in terms of personality, so I didn't expect that, but I honestly have a lot of friends who are not Indians. So it's not like you'll just be in your own, community. It's even good to not be in your own community always, because that's how you will get to know the other culture and a lot of things that you don't know before.
exactly. I
So
believe in
yeah.
that. Because I usually roam with like international people. Not like I do not like Indian people. I've met like really good people, specifically South Indian people. They are my like saviors, I would say. But yeah, hiking with them and talking about different culture and going to know. Like I just got to know. I think when I was doing hiking, somebody told me about Oktoberfest that happens in Europe.
Munich, yeah.
I had no idea about it. Then I got to know, oh, it's a culture there.
Yeah, see, that's how you know a lot of things that you're not aware
Exactly.
of. So it's good to be like it's good to connect always. Like you said, your network is your network.
Okay, so like 1 year into the masters, you can completely skip this question. I'm just asking you, like it can be personal as well. Do you want to stay here, like in France, or like you want to go back to India to after PhD? Like I know this is a very long question. I will think a lot about. I'm just like asking your perspective, being in a year like in the
Hmm.
in abroad,
Yeah, it
France.
depends. Like I haven't given a thought about it yet, but I really want to go back to India as well because I know everything is good here, like the perfect vibe, everything and everything. But India is India.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I haven't really thought about it, but I might work here for some time and then like go back.
Okay. So, like, if we try to sum up this interview, so what advice or like basic points would you like to tell your juniors or like tell people or students who want to apply masters abroad, like specifically in Europe or like say you know more about France? So, what points should they
Yeah.
consider?
First of all, I would, if you're coming for your master's here, then make sure that your profile is not only about academics. It should also be extracurriculars because they really consider it, especially if you apply for a scholarship. So I think I didn't mention the name of my scholarship before. It's Charpak Scholarship. And then there's another scholarship which is funded by Government of France. That's Eiffel Scholarship.
Okay.
So you can definitely look for these two
Okay.
if you want to come to France, and uh, always have an eye for like whatever is coming up on the internet. There's another, I forgot the name. It was scholarshipbard.com where you can look for the scholarships and like whichever scholarship is open, and always look for the internal scholarships of the university, like if they have any funding. So you do apply for it and do not underestimate yourself.
Getting your
And
point.
for your profile, you should have a little bit of research experience if you are coming for research.
Yeah.
And if you're coming for any other like program, then you should have a bit of experience. It's always good to have it. And here, it's good if you know the language before a little, like even A1 would work, just so that you know how to integrate into the society if you're coming to Europe. And your GPA should be good. It's not the only factor, but it's also an important factor. So
Yeah.
don't, just don't refrain from applying because you don't have a good GPA. Do apply, but just don't make it the only factor, is my point.
Yeah.
And see the requirements before for your university which you're applying for. If they require a English test, take the test. well in time so that you can apply accordingly. And yeah, everything is good. Like you should know what you're doing and you should know what you want. Especially like apply for the programs that you actually want to do. There's no point coming here and doing something that you don't like.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because I think it will be really helpful for the students and people who apply abroad for masters.
I
Because
hope.
I've heard like lots of people come here and pay lots of like hefty amount of fee, and they don't know
Yeah.
about scholarships. Like they are by
Yeah.
government masters. Okay. So before ending our conversation, I would like to ask like these days there is like very high competition. So even like you will see school students, they are already looking for abroad positions and they are thinking of PhD when they are in literally 9th or 10th standard and they're looking for stream, right? So I don't know if school students are going to see this interview, but still I want to make one part for them. Do you think it really matters? Like they worry a lot. We also used to worry a lot. Now I understand like,
Yeah.
that was rubbish. Like not that rubbish. I'm not just like uh
Yeah, I get you.
rising their pressure. I understand. I understand when I see myself in 10th, but students worry a lot these days because I see my cousins, they're like all the time studying and taking coffee to wake up in the night and like man, stop it. So do you think that
Yeah.
peer pressure is really like important in 10th and in 12th? What would be your advice for 10th and 12th student? Because I think you'll be at that stage as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even I used to stress a lot, but now I've realized it's not worth it. Like,
Yeah,
you should
exactly.
always keep a balance, always. That's mandatory for your mental health. And, like, even physically, you should not be always work, study, study, study. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Yeah, like I was just doing 75 hard challenge and to like write content daily and have good healthy habits like eating habits and sleeping habits in my schedule. Because what I've heard in PhD, I think you also have heard like people
Yeah.
PhD students just study. Like they just
Yeah.
and do research and that's it. They are in the lab or in their office. They rarely travel and things like that. Like that's the perception of a PhD student. But when I did that for 75 days, I realized like there can be a work-life balance because I was at my like pinnacle of my productivity in my PhD, in my balance, and like it was pretty good that time. So
Yeah.
I think there is a requirement of balance. I'm not saying like I was perfectly following that. In my PhD, right, like I used to mention that today I did not have fruits, today I missed my protein, like, and I'm vegetarian, so I had to maintain.
Same.
Yeah. Today only I got to know 39% of Indian population is like vegetarian and like it's scarcity of protein. Okay, so I would like
Yeah,
to ask you, like, how do you manage your meals and things in France? Because being healthy is really important.
I know. Like, that's that's another point as well. Like, even though you're here, you have to give proper attention to your health, your food, your physical lifestyle, because you are here alone. So if you fall sick, nobody's coming for you, right?
Exactly.
So you have to you have to manage your food and everything. And being a vegetarian, like you said, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah,
So
it
for
is.
me, like I usually cook myself. I, I honestly try my best to have a balanced diet,
Yeah.
but like one meal of the day is my usually outside in the cafeteria or the restaurant of university. So they really have like healthy food.
Yeah.
So that's good. And just a thing that I just didn't include, and it's good if people know. Like if you are here on a scholarship, which is funded by government, so you also get like meals that are here for student for 3.5 euros for 1 euro. So that's also an added advantage. So
That's pretty
that
good.
also like, and the meal is amazing. Like it's very fulfilling, plus it's very healthy because here they usually have like the boiled and everything.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
have
So
healthy food. Yeah. I avoid outside food, but yeah, like they have spinach sandwich, pumpkin sandwich, and things
yeah.
like like half boiled, half cooked, I would say. And like
Yeah.
earlier I used to say how they eat that greens and thing, but they are literally, that is literally very yummy if you
Yeah.
like
And
the
now
taste
we know,
of
right?
it.
Like now we know because
Exactly.
now we tried.
Yeah. And like earlier I used to eat so much carbohydrate in my diet. I never knew how protein is so important
Required. Yeah.
for body.
Same.
And when you start eating healthy food, your mind also works nicely.
Exactly.
I think so. I believe
And
so.
it's important here, like your mental health and
Yeah,
your physical health.
exactly. because there's too much pressure of studies sometimes, and if you're not healthy
Exactly.
physically, you're going to break down
Not
mentally as well. Because I have
like
noticed that with me in initial phases when I was like, because I saw people here, they, I don't know if you have observed, here people do meal prep and they prepare for
that.
7 days on Saturday and Sunday. So I also starting doing that by randomly following. I did not realize first I did not have habit. My body will be in shock with that. Second,
Same.
when preparing, they're preparing meat or rice or like not only rice, meat, like some protein things.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that. I was just preparing macaroni for 7 days. Preparing macaroni with like big utensil for 7 days. And I was eating like afternoon, evening, afternoon, like lunch, dinner, like that. I had to fall sick.
Yeah. We are not used to that culture, like
Exactly.
meal prep, but it's good sometimes. But I feel like as much as you can avoid eating like that, like as much as you can having the fresh food,
Yeah.
it's good.
Meal prep is good if you are adding some healthy greens, proteins, and things like that, not just
Yeah,
carbohydrate.
not like
Carbohydrate is good
yeah,
for energy, but with protein.
yeah.
So I'll just ask
That's
you
true.
last question, which is not at all related to master's thing and PhD. But I read your topic, research topic, which was quite interesting. Like you were working in carbon nanotubes, and I
Yeah.
think something with methyl red. And when I like do research, I like learn a lot with my apparatus as well. Many things like small beakers and small pipettes, like how they like very small but very much important to do
Yeah.
that experiment. So, what was the role of methyl red in your experiment? Like, what did you learn from that? If you think of anything, it's just very random
Methyl
question. I'm very
red.
much into philosophy, so I just like,
That's a very random question, honestly.
yeah, very
Now
random
that
question.
I with thyroid, right? Interesting. For me, it was at that time just a solution, but now you're, forcing me to think of it as something else.
Yeah,
But yeah, jokes aside. Not a lot, but like you mentioned, carbon nanotubes. So that was an amazing thing. Like, there are things in the world that are in the nanometer scale, but they are so powerful that you don't even know their power actually. Like they were like literally you cannot see them through your naked eyes, but they are so powerful. Like they're used in drug delivery. They're used in making the aeronautic things and like the space and space shuttles and everything. Who thought like the things that are, at the nanometer scale can be
exactly.
used for such an amazing thing? That's
Exactly.
something I learned during my internship as well.
That's how I enjoy science because see, the philosophy you learn from something like nanotubes being
Exactly.
very small, microscopic, still play a very essential role in the drug
Exactly.
delivery, like you said. Like, because sometimes we
Exactly.
even think like we help somebody or like we just do some small, we should not say small, but small things and feel like it doesn't even matter. But we never know how it's going to
True.
impact the other person or even your own life. Like just small habit of brushing teeth is
Yeah.
going to save you for 5 years, at least for the next 5 years, to not to go to dentist and have pain.
True.
That
But
cool.
it's amazing, like how like small things can be so great for your life, and how it's like booming the industry, the carbon nanotube and the nanoscale industry is booming. Like even the Nobel Prize this year for chemistry was in quantum dots. That
Yeah,
is something that's very minute,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you amazing.
Cool. So, Anushka, it was like really amazing talk with you. I hope you enjoyed too. I was asking you random questions and like,
I loved it.
I hope you enjoyed the session. And it will be helpful to the students as well. It's helpful for me as well. I did not know much about like scholarships and masters. Thank
Yeah,
you for
I hope
joining.
it's helpful. Not a problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool.